The Rewind
Sports 60. From the city of big shoulders, the jewel of the Midwest, comes a sports show that's one of a kind. From iconic players to iconic stadiums to iconic teams, this is my kind of town. Chicago! And the Rewind Sports 60 is my kind of show. From Air Jordan to Sweetness to Papa Bear Hallis, this city works hard, but plays even harder. Danny Carlino and Jerry Riles bring you the Rewind Sports 60. Live. The Rewind Sports 60 starts now.
Welcome, everybody, to the Rewind Sports 60 WCPT 820 AM. We are live in our WCPT studios, and we're also streaming live on Facebook.com. So please follow us and join in on the conversation. The fastest sports hour in America, in the country, in the world, pretty much, all over. And we finally have sports, guys. Woo!
Kind of.
A variation of it for sure, but we still have sports, so lots to talk about, of course, in the world of sports. I want to get right to it. Join in on the conversation. Give us a call at 773-763-9278. And I want to get right to my esteemed panel. First of all, the marvelous one, Dan Marver. Dan, I'm waiting to see what your reaction is, because you've been waiting and praying and waiting and all of that for baseball.
I was outside Wrigley Field and Guaranteed Rate Field, and they wouldn't let me in. I figured that they'd let me in, but, I don't have credentials, so I had to watch it at home.
We got to get you some credentials.
Yeah, I don't have credentials. I had to watch it at home. But it's fun to see baseball. I mean, and they're piping in some crowd noise and people.
Did you see the people who had their cutout pictures? I didn't get the memo on that. I would have.
Yeah, I mean, the Sox are. You could have bought a little thing for the Sox.
Yeah.
I heard you could.
Was it like $100?
Yeah, you could have done that. And then, of course, we'll talk about. There were some fans across the street on the rooftops. We'll talk about that later at Wrigley. And the Cubs won 2 out of 3, and the Sox lost 2 out of 3. But it's going to be 16 teams that make the playoffs, so it's kind of like the regular season isn't going to matter that much. What does that tell you?
Alrighty, and my co-host, the amazing, wonderful, illustrious Jerry Riles. Jerry, how do you feel about actually getting to see some real sports being played? How do you feel? Are you overjoyed? You can't speak? You can't.
I'm speechless.
I know.
Lauren, I'm speechless.
We didn't think it would happen.
I have to pinch myself.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting on my grandmother, may she rest in peace. She used to call the sofa, the couch, the doofo. I was sitting on the doofo watching baseball.
Yeah,
yes.
In WNBA, too.
I was sitting on my doofo watching baseball.
I couldn't believe it.
I wasn't watching the WNBA.
Okay, well, they
I'm sorry about that, but I wasn't watching the WNBA.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare I sit there and even think about trying to watch the WNBA. No offense, but I commend the women in WNBA for all that they've done in support of the movement by walking off the court.
Hey.
By walking off the court,
Absolutely,
Lauren.
yes. For MLB, everybody was so touch, moved, and inspired that they decided to kneel. When the WNBA, they've been doing this for years. They started it. They're the trailblazers. So I'm interested to see Craig Hodges' take on that.
Portland is the trailblazers.
Well, they're the social justice trailblazers.
Very good.
Yeah, how come the women can step up like that, but,
God bless them. I mean, they stepped.
Nobody else can.
They stepped the hell up.
They've been stepping the
They
hell up.
stepped up and said, we walking off the court, and we don't give a damn.
Yes.
Damn.
Absolutely.
I was like, whoa, hey.
I love it. They showed it.
Get out of the way.
Hey.
Holy Moses. Don't let Coach Mike Ditka hear you say that. I see that, though. We'll get an opportunity to talk about what the coach had to say, Lauren.
Please.
What'd you think?
I think that's ridiculous. He built his championship. He is who he is off of the brothers who played for him. So, for him to be that tone deaf about that situation,
But Lauren, he said he'll sit down and tell you, and hopefully we reached out to Coach Mike Ditka. If you haven't had an opportunity to check it out on TMZ, I believe either yesterday, I guess it was yesterday or maybe late in the week, Coach Ditka was on TMZ and was asked a question because he is the chairman of the X League, the
XFL.
evolving of the lingerie league, and now it's called the X League, and he's the chairman of the league. And the question was posed to Coach Mike Ditka, the Super Bowl winning head coach for your Chicago Bears, because he's the chairman. If the players elected to kneel during the national anthem, would he have a problem with it? We have the sound for it. We'll get an opportunity to play. Well, actually, Devin, we do have the sound, correct? Coach Mike Ditka said, hey, if he had it his way, they'll be standing. They'll be standing.
Yeah, he said it's disrespecting the flag. How many times?
Devin Ting, our producer, play the cut for us real quick.
These baseball players now, different teams. Last night watching baseball, you got the Reds kneeling, the A's, the Giants. A lot of teams are kneeling. Athletes are kneeling. In your league here, you're the chairman of this thing. Is that going to be allowed if the women want to take a knee during the anthem? What's the policy on that for you guys?
Well, if it was up to me, I'd say no. If you can't respect our national anthem, get the hell out of the country. Then that's the way I feel. Of course, I'm old-fashioned, so I'm only going to say what I feel. I think there's a way that you protest, and there's a way you don't protest. You don't protest against the flag, and you don't protest against this country, who's given you the opportunity to make a living playing a sport that you never thought would happen. So I don't want to hear all the crap. You want to try it. You don't, it's okay.
You don't want to hear the crap, Lauren.
I don't want to hear that crap. He's talking about how tone deaf you played with and had players of color play for you. How can he be this tone deaf? I'm very disappointed. I mean, well, he's said other things before in the past.
Yeah, he said that.
It's disappointing. Point blank, period. It's disappointing to hear him say that and be so emphatic about it. Especially with the things that are happening in this time. Even if you believed it, you don't sit up there and say that. I'm disappointed in him. Won't be going to that restaurant anymore.
Well, it's a lot of people's not going to go to it. Unfortunately, Lauren, is because they closed on Chestnut there.
Yeah.
I think the only one that's open in Oak Brook, I think it is.
Yeah.
Right? Marvelous. Yeah. Your thoughts from the coach's comments about his perspective on kneeling during the national anthem.
Well, obviously, there are people that feel that way. And everybody's entitled to their opinion. I mean, First Amendment right. So, I mean, it's obviously that it's not agreeable to everybody. And we've had a lot of issues in the last few weeks since about Memorial Day where there's a controversy and differing opinions. And, if somebody wants to kneel, they should kneel. I mean, what the heck?
Well, the WNBA, as Lauren stated, they opened up their season and they walked off the court.
Absolutely. I mean, because of the incidents since Floyd's death, it's been an eye-opening experience if people would just open themselves up to allow themselves to see what's really going on in this country. It's not just so simple difference of opinion. This man lost his life. And it could be my son. It could be you, Jerry. Why? Simply because of the color of our skin. It's a very serious situation. And for people to just casually say, oh, it's about the flag, it really bothers African Americans because it speaks to how other people don't understand the urgency of the situation. It's not about a flag. It's not about a piece of cloth. It's about human life that's being lost because of these stigmas and these ideals around black people.
Right.
I mean, for him to just be insensitive and just throw that out and put it and make it about the flag, that's the frustrating part. It's not about a piece of cloth.
Right. Which is a symbol. Marvelous.
There's obviously human life being lost in Chicago. You guys stop killing each other, for God's sakes.
Well, I mean, nobody should be killing, and that's another. Here's the deal, Marvelous, you're right. But the problem is, yes, stop killing each other. It's a simple Psych 101. You've taken Psych, I've taken Psych, you've taken Psych. And you guys have heard the experiment, the example where you put, we'll put 25 rats in a box area, a maze area. And you put 25 blocks of cheese in each area where those rats are, correct? And then either every day or every week, you remove one block of cheese with the same amount of rats. And after 25 days, you have one block of cheese. What's happening to those rats who had their own cheese at one particular time? They're fighting and killing each other over that one block of cheese that at one point in time they had their own. So you take that philosophy and that logic and you apply it to human culture and human societies and you put it in particular areas. That's exactly what's taking place in the black and brown communities here in Chicago on the south and west sides. That's what the struggle, the movement is all about, systemic racism. You talk about stop killing each other. Well, if you replace jobs, put jobs in the community, put education there in the community, take the guns out of community, and take the drugs out of the community, the killing will stop. It doesn't happen frequently. The city in its own right, there's going to be crime everywhere, right? That's just human nature, how we live. Mm-hmm. But you can't tell me mm-hmm. that, and people have tried to tell me, white people have tried to tell me, but you can't tell me that these people in the Inglewood community, in the Austin community, the south and west sides of the city, the only thing they want to do is kill each other because that's what they want to do. But if you go to Wicker Park, you go to Lincoln Park, you go to Rogers Park, and they still have crime in those particular areas. But you don't see the level of crime and shootings and murders taking place in those particular areas. Why? Because the amount of drugs and the amount of guns aren't flooding those communities. They're not. And the jobs,
on purpose.
The jobs are there. The education is there. So if you replace the drugs and the guns with jobs and education, I will guarantee you, like Michael Jordan said, 99.9% sure that the crime, the murders, marvelous, they will go down.
Well, who's going to do that, though?
Yeah, you got the solution. Now let's implement it. How do we do that?
Well, I'm not the mayor of Chicago, and I'm not the governor of Illinois, and I'm surely not the president of the great United States of America that we live in.
Your boy from down the street.
No, I'm not getting in Kanye's West now. I'm not getting in his way. I'm talking
about Barack Obama. I'm not talking about Kanye West.
But if you want to give us a call, our number is 773-763-9278, 773-763 WCPT. It's Jerry Riles, Lauren Cox, and of course the marvelous one, Dan Marver. If you have any comments, we're certainly going to talk about Mike Ditka and his position on the National Anthem. I want to hear from you if you have any thoughts on the coach making his comments one way or the other. We're also going to get an opportunity. He's a friend of the program, no question about it. He is Craig Hodges, former Chicago Bull, NBA champion, three-point champ, joining us shortly to talk about the update as far as Black Lives Matter, the movement, and how things are going on the front, Marvelous.
On the front?
On the front.
On the front of what?
On the front of this movement.
Oh.
Marvin, how you been doing? You looking good? You got your mask and everything?
Yeah, I'm back at my regular work location, sanitizing every counter, every doorknob. It's
that's right.
It's out of control, but we have to do it.
But people don't think so. And, I'm in the hospital sometimes, and we were talking to the nurses this week, and they said, I said, how are things going? They said the cases are back up. Mm-hmm. There's a COVID-19 surge. Mm-hmm. These are direct from the healthcare practitioners that are on the front line, right. Conspiracy people who don't think this is true. And they said the numbers are back like they were in March. Mm-hmm. But it's young people, right. People in their 30s.
Right.
This is still serious, guys.
Right.
People still need to be just as vigilant as they were back in February and March. You can't let up because
right.
People are dying. The young people are getting it. Of course, younger people are able to recover. But this is something that you just don't want to deal with because even the healthcare practitioners are saying, we don't have the answers. We're just, experimenting as we go along, essentially. It's a lot we don't know about this. So people need to be smart.
Yeah.
Just stay home.
That's it.
Social distance, all of that. So.
Get your mask, your Rewind Sports 60 mask.
Yes.
Go the Rewind Sports 60.
Where's my Rewind Sports 60?
I think it's in the mail. It is coming.
Okay, all right.
It is coming.
Just making sure.
Yeah, we have to make sure.
Yours, but,
Yeah,
Okay.
You will have yours for sure.
But it would be great if everybody could stay home, but some people have to feed their family.
No, well, a lot of people.
Well, I'm talking about the people partying.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Partying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like your boy Lou Williams, and we'll talk about him.
Yeah,
too.
we'll get a chance to talk about Lou Williams as well. Let's go out to our TRS60 line. Tommy calling from what part of Chicago, Tommy? How are you?
First of all, let me say hello to all three of you, and I'll be tuning into your show. But let's start with one. China posted and said that their outbreak, it took them 4 months to get restarted. So if you stop and you do the math in Chicago, March 16th, they closed everything down. And so basically nothing should have been opened back up until July. But, oh, wait a minute, pump the brakes. So they come out with this, let's give money and this, that, and the other. 47 million individuals lose their jobs, and people can't get unemployment. You had the perfect powder keg going into all of this that we see going on. I want to leave you with this. The bottom line of it is, the bigger question is, why is it so difficult for people to recognize and understand that if you destroy communities, if you take everything out of a community that every other community has, what do you think? It's not a block of cheese. It's absolute decades of the same old thing warmed over. And I want to leave you with this one. I love baseball and basketball, but to sit up and watch TV and look at a bunch of cardboard cutouts and stuff, I'm asking myself, hey, Tommy, either you drunk, high, or this is one hell of a nightmare. I love you three.
Wow.
Thanks, Tommy.
I feel the same way, Tommy. Jeez.
It is a nightmare, but it's the nightmare we have.
Yeah, it is a nightmare, and it's a nightmare. Like you said, it's not where we want to be, and we do want to wake up from it. But this is what we have to deal with. Yeah. This is what we have to deal with. As far as the cardboard cutouts are concerned, I gotta say to you, first of all, you have to understand, sports, there are entertainment, okay? Whether you choose sports to watch, whether you choose the opera to go to, whether you choose a concert or, whatever the case may be, it's a form of entertainment that we gravitate toward to remove ourselves from the day-to-day struggles and problems that we experience. And it's an escape for, 3 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever the case may be. So I think that's the approach you have to take when you're watching sports or whatever type of entertainment that you engage in. The cardboard cutouts, I think I got to give kudos to the marketing people around the world of sports. And Brooks Boyer over at the Chicago White Sox, and Lauren, you talked about where your cutout was. I didn't know that they were only going to be selling 1,200 cutouts, because seriously, I was looking to get the Rewind Sports 60 cutouts and put in the stands. Mm-hmm. One, because how vain we are, but two, more importantly, is to support, what's going on. And I think it's pretty interesting to see the cutouts, but you got to commend the marketing people for coming up with some ways to keep some attention while you're watching on television. But the important thing to note and to stay focused on is the fact that there's entertainment out there for us, and these guys are putting themselves in a position to help entertain us, to take our minds off of the day-to-day, challenges that we face, because you have to understand and keep in mind, although it's not plastered across the newspapers and on your daily, local news at night, but the rise in domestic abuse, suicides, alcoholism, drug use, the numbers, we talk about the COVID numbers going up. I can almost assure you that those numbers are increasing as well, right. Have increased over the past 3-4 months, because people had no substitute to escape from.
Right. And in addition, kids aren't getting their inoculations. People that have cancer, it's undetected. There's a lot of stuff that's being delayed. But, the thing with as it is, I remember Jack Brickhouse used to always say that the baseball game would take you away from your troubles and that's what it's all about. Really.
It's America's favorite pastime. And I think if we all keep it in perspective, Lauren, we can understand and kind of get through this. And so, it's not the end all be all, and it's not the best solution, but it's a direction toward getting back to some sort of normalcy of what we used to be accustomed to.
That's what I was going to say. When you get to do the little things like going to get your hair done, and, you know, the little things that we used to could do with no problem. I think it gives you a sense of normalcy and that, okay, it's going to be okay. You know, things will get back, you know, maybe not to where they were before, but we will get through this. And so I think that was the sentiment behind, you know, well, for me as a fan, that's the sentiment behind being happy that it started back, and, you know, of course, professional reasons for myself. But you know, it was an issue with the players because you do have to think, is this a distraction?
Right.
You know, for them to get back to sports, does it take away from what the true issue is that I talked about earlier? So I really think that the players are going to try to infuse and have as much focus be on these issues of the injustices that African Americans face every day.
Right.
Make that front and center. You have it on the Toronto Raptors bus. They have it on the court.
Right.
Players are going to protest, and we'll just wait and see exactly who is. But even Paul George and LeBron James during their press conferences, they talked about Breonna.
You were doing very well until you went to that guy.
Stop it.
You were doing very well.
Please. They talked about Breonna Taylor.
Yes.
And how the officers who murdered her, assassinated her, essentially, they're still not charged.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. And that's why I commend the WNBA women for walking off the court, because there's no justice regarding Breonna Taylor.
No.
That's ridiculous. And now they've been trying to spin it and accuse the boyfriend of shooting at them, and they fired back to protect themselves. So it's totally ridiculous. But I again, as you all know, and everyone listening, and whoever knows me, I always have a bone to pick with your guy, LBJ.
Yeah. What's the problem? His
now
remember,
he didn't speak. The players said they were going to put a name on the back of their jerseys. They were going to put a slogan or a phrase to support the Black Lives Matter.
And Jimmy Butler says he doesn't want any name.
Which I respect that and appreciate that, because he said, hey, I could be that person, so I'm not going to put anything on my back. But for LeBron to say, hey, I'm not going to put it on there because I don't want to do it.
So don't try to add anything extra to it. He just said he didn't want to do it.
But then he comes out and say, well, it's not a movement.
Well, this is
Black Lives Matter is not a movement.
This is what he said today, well, not today, but when he was interviewed, he said a lot of people talk about Black Lives Matter as a movement, as you were saying, Jerry. It's not a movement. When you're black, it's a lifestyle. When you wake up and you're black, that's what it is. In America, in society, ain't been no damn movement for us. I said, bravo, LeBron James. I mean.
But it is a movement.
He just told you it ain't no when you black and you waking up every day and you may lose your life because of the color of your skin. He's saying that it's more than just, again, what we were saying earlier, a piece of cloth, a movement. It's a lifestyle, something that they have to live with every day.
It's not they have to live with. We got to live with it.
We have to live
Believe
with
it. Yes. I know that, and I get that. But now,
what problem did you have with his statements?
The problem is, it is a movement, because when you have not only just a city, not only just a region, not only just a country, you have the entire world backing a movement, because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and enough is enough, and they're demanding change.
Mm-hmm.
That's a movement.
Right.
The actions, from what he described, is how we got to the movement. He was right on that.
Mm-hmm.
But the movement is to make a change and to move from one thinking process or physical action of process to a different one, a better one, a one of equality. So that's what movement is. Like, he moved his ass from Cleveland to Miami, and then he moved his ass back to Cleveland, and then he moved his ass to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. That was called a movement.
But he is more than words.
He moved his ass to make some more money.
He is more than words, because he's put his money into organizations working on registering voters and reversing voter suppression measures.
So here's what he needs to do.
Parts of the nation,
here's what he needs to do. And I'm using my hand sanitizer. Here's what he needs to do.
Tell LeBron what he needs to do. Go ahead.
Did you see, by the way?
Watch this. I'm about to get upset. Watch this. Watch this.
I was going to change the
No.
subject.
You're not changing it until we're ready to change it. I'm about to get upset. You know what he needs to do?
Yes.
Just be quiet and keep dribbling that basketball.
Oh, please. Yeah, okay. All right, Michael Jordan.
Speaking of sanitizer, did you see where Rizzo offered the first base, the guy that got a single? He offered some sanitizer to him. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, and kudos to the Marquee Network.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get to do some business and some work with them. But kudos to the Marquee Network and Comcast for finally coming to an agreement so that people can, watch the Cub game.
5 in the morning before the first game.
But I did not want to watch Rizzo spitting.
Oh, yeah.
On a close-up. I don't want to see that. No. Is that the hand sanitizer you were talking about?
But he had sanitizer, and he offered it to the Brewer player who just got in a single. Is what I saw. Yeah.
Got you, man. Hey, we're going to take a short time out here. If you want to jump in, our number is 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. No, LeBron James he's quite a young man, and I wish more people were like LeBron James. And I'm sure if they had his money, they probably would try to be like LeBron.
All of them, it's paying them to have money. They're not doing nothing what he did.
We could talk about Mookie Betts later, too.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys cashing in during this pandemic. There's no question about it. Congratulations. And they're brothers of color, Marvelous.
Right. There you go.
They're brothers of color. We need the money.
Okay.
We need some coming this way, Lauren.
Yes, we do. It's coming.
It's the Rewind Sports 60. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, along with the marvelous one, Dan Marver, and the lovely, talented, beautiful Lauren Cox. We got a Gabe Salgado.
He's back.
Gabe Salgado is back. We got a TRS60 scoreboard update, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully before we're out of here, we'll get an opportunity to catch up with Craig Hodges, the three-point specialist, NBA champion, Chicago Bull. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on our TRS60 hotline. More coming up right after this short timeout. It's Gabe Salgado. Take it away, Gabe.
TRS60 Sports Update.
It's sponsored by the Monster Education Foundation. The Cubs get key RBIs from Wilson Contreras and Ian Happ as they take down the Milwaukee Brewers 9-1 at Wrigley Field today. Ronaldo Lopez and Eloy Jimenez both left the game with injuries as the White Sox once again give up double-digit runs to the Minnesota Twins in a 14-2 loss. Luis Robert, however, did hit his first big league home run. The Blackhawks announced their playoff roster today as they arrive in Edmonton for the postseason. Corey Crawford is listed on the roster. He missed most of the postseason training camp due to COVID-19. As the Bears get ready for training camp, they've sent tight end Adam Shaheen to Miami for a 6th-round pick, while fellow tight end Ben Broniker has been cut. The Sky came from behind to defeat Las Vegas in their opener down in Florida 88-86, and the Red Stars fall to Houston in the Challenge Cup Championship game 2-0. This update is sponsored by the Monster Education Foundation, MEF, empowering the next generation of leaders. Go to monstereducationfoundation.org to learn more. I am Gabe Salgado telling you to keep wearing those masks out in public, and you're listening to the Rewind Sports 60 on WCPT 820 Chicago.
Go Bucks! Woo! It's the end of the quarter. Time for a break in the action. The hottest sports panel in Chicago will get back to the fast-paced action, streaming live on Facebook Live. We're back at it after this quick timeout. So don't you dare touch that iPhone, Android, iPad, Mac, or PC. Lock it in.
The RewindSports60.com. Relax. Reset. Rejuvenate. Go to a link right now to restart your life. The RewindSports60.com. What are you waiting for? Hope to see you soon. The Rewind Sports 60.
If it's Chicago sports you want, you're in the right place.
Hello, Chicago!
The Rewind Sports 60.
That's the best in the city of Chicago.
Welcome back to the Rewind Sports 60 Live with the best sports panel in Chicago. Lock it in.
mercy!
Yes, we can.
Yes! 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 That ball hit hard, deep, way back. He looks up, you can put it on the board. Yes! Yes! Oh, he drops the ball. Call your sons, call your daughters, call your friends, call your neighbors.
Call them. Hawk, where were you? They need to call them. They need to call some pitching. The Sox got their brains beat in.
Yikes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Lauren, you're a Sox side, you're a South Side and a Sox fan, right?
Yes, I am.
What the hell happened?
Well, they're a young team. That's the start of what happened. And I mean, we got to see how this stuff is going to shake out. Everybody is like 2-1 and 1-2 right now. So, I think they're still going to be good. They got some problems, but they're still going to be good. Don't give up on the Sox yet.
Well, I'm not trying to give up on them, but it looked like they gave up on themselves.
Hey.
But again, it's the Division Winners, the Minnesota Twins in town over at the ballpark on the south side, and the balls are flying out, Marvelous. The balls were flying. They kept talking about, Steve Stone and Jason Benetti on the television broadcast kept talking about the jet stream. Because the White Sox went off yesterday. They got their brains beat in the opener, and then they get their brains beat in today. But they kept talking about this jet stream.
Did you watch the whole game today? It was 14-2 going to the bottom of the ninth, and Benetti says, "We need 11 runs." And I said, "You didn't take math in school, Jason."
No, he's optimistic. And stranger things in the world of sports. That's why we love it. Stranger things have occurred.
Lost by 1 run.
Stranger things have occurred, and strange things. And as our caller Tommy said before the break, that it's like we're living in a nightmare. I don't know. Some people may say a nightmare. Others may say it's a fantasy world. But whatever the case may be, we're living in a totally different world. And if you go out, or if you're a Cub fan and you're watching the Cubs play at the friendly confines, Wrigley Field, they don't have the cardboard cutout fans. They got the crowd noise. But Lauren, did you see, and again, the Marquee Network and Comcast finally came to an agreement so everyone can watch on their subscribed outlet. But did you see
It looks so crazy.
They put the virtual fans out there. Well, it was hilarious.
I think that was Fox.
Was it Fox?
Fox did that, yeah.
Was it Fox?
Yeah, it was the Fox game Saturday. They did that.
I thought it was the Marquee Network.
No, it was Fox.
I'm working with Marquee Network, so whatever. So Fox.
It was only the Fox.
Get the money.
They had fans.
What'd you think of that?
It was a nice touch. I mean, it made it look like a real game. And they did the same thing in Los Angeles. It was a Fox thing. Trust me.
I trust you, Marvelous. Or else you wouldn't be on the show. I didn't trust you.
Keep you in check.
What'd you think of it?
It just was so weird to me. I was just like, no.
Was it like a video game to you?
I could not get with it. I'm like, not at Wrigley. It's just too, and then.
Well, it's interesting because, you can't have fans in the stands, but the Cubs.
They found a way.
They found a way after they, got all the rooftops they possibly could, except for one. Except for one.
They had the few guys that rolled a tarp out were sitting in the stands, I noticed.
Yeah, they certainly did. But there's a rooftop in Wrigley Field, left field, near the fire station, Wrigleyview rooftops. Mm-hmm. And they have a few fans up there. And we wanted to reach out to them to see what the hell's going on and how's everything up there watching the ball games. And we're pleased to be welcome on our TR60 hotline. I love her. She's fantastic. She is a world traveler for sure. And if she's not a world traveler, I can believe and guarantee you she is a Chicago traveler. She's on our TR60 hotline. Wrigleyview rooftops. PR spokesperson Betsy Shepard. Shep, how are you?
Riles, Jerry Riles, what's up?
How are you, girl? You okay?
I'm good. I'm still at the rooftop right now. Yeah.
God bless you.
Nice.
Give our best to Aiden, the owner over there. And, they had a couple shots. Marquee Network had a couple shots of the rooftop up there. And I know it's only a limited capacity, but what's the experience like watching a Cub game from there?
You guys, it's so awesome. We've been sold out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, completely sold out. We can do 25%. of capacity. So 50-ish tickets are sold.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have the biggest one here, I think, by square footage. So it's very comfortable. And we have the clubhouse's air conditioning, which a lot of people came by today to,
Mm-hmm.
fresh air, to get cool off. And then we have the bleacher section and then the upper deck, which is the sky deck, which is amazing. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been really great. And then since we are next door to the rooftop, the players' lot is next door to the fire station.
Right.
Next door to the fire station. So you can see all the guys leave. So we saw everybody leave, and everyone's waving at Rizzo and Javi and Corner today. So that was fun. And, yeah, it was a great game today. We needed that.
Yeah, it was a fun game. It was a great game, and it's just really, really cool to see that the rooftops are being occupied, and I like the fact that it's the particular rooftop that you're a part of, Wrigleyview rooftops, is because Aiden, the owner, he's like the Lone Ranger. He stands alone, right? He's the only sole owner of a rooftop. The other rooftops are owned by the Cubs, correct?
We're the only rooftop with a view that's left, really, that isn't owned by the Cubs. And we love our Cubby. We love the Cubs. We love the Ricketts. But he built this from the ground up as 20 years ago as condos, and then reverted it to this 9 years ago. So there's still condos on the first and second floor. But the only other one that's not owned by the Ricketts, I believe, is Murphy's, obviously.
Right.
So, but we have an amazing view, and you've been here, right, Jerry?
Yeah, we actually. Thank you, Betsy Shepard. You've done your homework. You've done your research. But a couple years ago, we actually had an opportunity to broadcast live from the rooftop there, Wrigleyview rooftops, and you're absolutely right. The view is spectacular, and it was the last weekend of the regular season between the Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. It was a beautiful, beautiful summer day, and the view is outstanding. And the food, the only drawback, and it didn't affect me, but I had a couple crew members, Shepard, that because of the bleachers that you mentioned, some of the guys got a little bit, they're kind of afraid of heights. Mm-hmm. And so they got a little bit shaky. But other than that, I mean, the food is fantastic. The view is outstanding. And the accommodations, the amenities, and just the personnel, it's all top notch. No question about it.
Thank you. And we have Buona Beef Catering again this year. And I mean, they don't do any wrong. Their food is so good. Mm-hmm. And, and included in the price is the food, beer, wine, and soft drinks. We open an hour early before the game, close 45 minutes after the game. So, but you can only serve, just like if you were at the ballpark, through the end of the seventh inning for the beer, wine, and soft drink, or beer and wine, anyway. So, yeah, and people can get tickets at Wrigleyview.com. And I know, even the Cubs socks are. There's only a few tickets left for one of their series. We have a lot of sold out games already. So here's the thing: I think people are spending their stimulus checks. But it's like one of the only places in the country you can actually see live baseball. So. Hey,
you know what? It's Shepard, we talked about it. It's a source of entertainment, and if it gets you out of the house to do something different, of course you want to practice social distancing, correct? But if it's a way to get out of the house and get some type of escape from the real world, it's the best place to be during the summer, no question about it. How is social distancing coming along as far as the mask and the sanitizer and all that good stuff?
So I did want to mention that. So we take your temperature upon entrance. You have to be wearing a mask. And unless you're eating or seated, we have the rooftops is the same CDC rules as restaurants and bars in Chicago, so we're following all those. Hand sanitation, all of that, we're following all of that. So, and the food is individually packaged, so everything is safe and everyone is behaving, and if we keep that up, then maybe we can see through the whole season. And I'm predicting, Jerry Riles.
Yes.
Cub Sox World Series.
Well, hey, you know what? I love that idea, and I'll go to Rivers Casino to place my bets on the odds. But watching the Sox game today, Shepard, I don't know if you know the score, but it wasn't pretty for the Southsiders. So they got some work to do. But hey, it seems like everybody in Major League Baseball is going to make the playoffs. So you never know.
Absolutely.
And I want you. Hey, let me know when you guys want to come over. Aiden and I would love to have you.
Thank you.
All right, Betsy.
Hey, Betsy, you were lucky today. You got to see this Dan Marver in the studio. You got to see the players go to their parking lot. You know what normally happens? They go to the bus to Cincinnati afterwards. They're staying in Chicago overnight and leaving in the morning. Normally, you wouldn't have seen them go to the parking lot. But so that was a good thing. I was also going to ask, I mean, are you able to reveal what the cost might be for this lovely event? If you want to get a ticket?
I didn't hear your. What was your question?
Are you able to reveal what it might cost to get a ticket when they're not sold out?
Oh, it depends on the game, but they're ranging from $300 to $400 per game, and people are paying it. So, I mean, listen, you guys, there's only 30 games, and you gotta. I mean, last year, they were $200 a game. Mostly, it depends on. Obviously, it's the game. If it's the Cardinals or whoever, they always are more expensive, but it's supply and demand, right? And it's a small business owner. So I'm just happy that people are so happy. That's the thing, you guys. Anyone that's come all the last 30 days, they're so happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And they must be big fans.
No,
to do it.
no. I mean,
Here's a little scoop for you.
Yeah.
So I was out here on the balcony, and I looked down, and I hear somebody singing, and it was Porter Moser, head coach of Loyola men's basketball. He was singing the 7th inning stretch. They were filming it with the firemen.
Get out of here.
Jerry Riles, I just gave you a scoop.
God bless you. Well, send me the video.
I took a picture, and I invited him up.
Yeah.
Cool.
I invited Mike Porter, and he was like, "Bets." Yeah, so I invited him up when he and the wife can bring the family to come see it. So,
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
I love it. Hey, Betsy, this is Lauren Cox here. So some of the rooftop fans booed Milwaukee Brewers star Ryan Braun when he was introduced loud enough where the Cubs manager, David Ross, said Saturday that he could even hear the boos. He said it made him feel right at home. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you guys are giving the players some of that added motivation that they may not get without you guys.
This group today that we had here, and it was all individual tickets, all individual, people here. Because Friday night it was a private event. Someone bought all 50 tickets and had an event.
Okay.
But today, oh my God, they were loud and funny, and they were giving it to them. Oh my gosh, it was really. I was like, is that our rooftop?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, well, the cool thing about it, I watched it on the Marquee Network, and they gave the rooftop looked pretty good. I mean, considering the capacity, it's not a full house, of course, because of social distancing, but they gave a pretty good view shot. Now, again, we were up there broadcasting a couple years ago, which is a great place to do a broadcast. But what's the food like up there? Because of course it has the typical ballpark food, the brats and the dogs and the beer and all that. But has the menu changed or evolved over the past couple years? What are they serving now? And you said that they're all plastic wrapped and everything. What are they presenting for food?
It's Buona beef, so we have Italian beef, Italian sausage. We've got there. Of course, we're having hot dogs, and we have black bean wraps with corn and brown rice for you health nuts that come to baseball games.
Yummy.
A few other offerings, pasta salad and cookies, and there was ice cream sandwiches today, help cool off people. So yeah, it's delicious food. Buona beef, you can't go wrong.
We got to get up there.
Maybe they're not a sponsor.
Jerry Riles, it's Italian beef. It's real good.
It's Italian beef. It's all good. Hey, speaking of Italian beef and it's all good, did you hear the latest from our good friend, the coach, Mike Ditka, saying, hey, if you want to kneel, You don't want to stand for the national anthem? Get out of here. Go to another country. What was your reaction to that comment from the coach?
Listen, you know that's the most patriotic man in this country, right? You know Coach as well as I do.
Yeah.
And that is truly how he feels.
Yeah, I mean that's
so, bless his heart.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing about Mike Ditka. He, regardless if you love him or if you hate him, he's going to tell you like it is, the way he sees it and the way he feels, and he certainly did that. And he's getting some backlash, but he's also getting some support. So it was interesting to hear the coach. He said, "I'm an old school guy. This is how I am, and that's how it is. Take it or leave it."
Yeah. Old coach.
Yeah.
You know, I mean. Well, you know how I feel about him. I love that man. So, you know, people, you know, he's 80 years old now.
Yeah.
Give him a break.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still spry as heck, but we just gotta, you know, he's patriotic and he doesn't,
well,
you know, Coach.
Well, Shep.
You know, Coach.
Shep.
He doesn't see color. No, you know that.
Yeah, he sees color. He sees red, white, and blue. That's what he sees.
That's what he sees.
Yeah, but Shep, you need to tell him, hey, Coach, now's not the time to stand on your soapbox. Tell him, now's not the time to do that. Tell him he needs to back off a little bit. Cause
I wish I still controlled the PR of.
I wish you did too. Because Shep, there are some people giving him the stink eye right now.
Yep.
They're giving him the stink eye.
Believe me, I know.
Hey, Shepard.
Anyway.
Thank you. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. I love you. I miss you. And don't be telling any Dennis Rodman stories, okay? What'd you think, real quick, before we out of here, what'd you think of The Last Dance?
I loved it. I lived it. I loved it and lived it. You know that. My sister represented Scott Williams when he played here. So we totally lived that fun roller coaster, beautiful time.
Yeah.
And I loved The Last Dance.
Hey, Chef, I honestly, I don't think you remember half the time you were there. I don't think you remember half the time. You were just...
You're full. Hey, be nice. I gave you an interview.
I love you.
Here comes
I love you.
I love you guys. I can't wait to see you on the rooftop.
You're the best. We'll talk to you. Be good. Bye. Betsy Shepard, the PR spokesperson for the Wrigleyview.
The fire engine was coming. She had to leave.
No, you remember back in the day when we were watching the Cubs game and you hear the fire truck leaving back and forth and Jack Brickhouse, hey! Yeah, the rooftop. Lauren, hopefully we'll get an opportunity to schedule something and set up another broadcast. But we did the broadcast. Sure. It was fabulous.
You know, it's funny. I think it's not even the stimulus check. I know for a fact that people are getting their season ticket, money back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if that's more than enough to cover $300, $400, what do you mean? Particularly if it's a skybox.
Yeah. I was looking for a cut here. Craig Hodges chimed in. Unfortunately, we won't have an opportunity to talk with him. We'll try to set something up with Craig next week.
Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, where y'all at? I don't understand. For the life of me, how can we go play in a bubble? I don't understand the NBA going back to play, y'all. I don't. And I gotta let it be known because our people are dying. This is the most critical hour in American history where black men have an opportunity to change the direction of our people. And this ain't no game.
It ain't no game. That's Craig Hodges. We'll hopefully get an opportunity to chat with him next week. He was actually spending time with his mom and lost track of time, and so we give him a pass for that, Lauren.
Yes.
We give him a pass. Real quick, Lauren, our new staple to the show.
3 topics.
Real quick. Unfortunately, we're short, but give it to us real quick.
Effective immediately. Mm-hmm. Washington, formerly, we're not even going to say what they were formerly called, will call themselves the Washington Football Team, pending adoption of a new name. So we got to talk about that at some point. The MLB players kneeled while the WNBA dedicated their entire season to hashtag say her name and then Ghost the Anthem. We talked about that. And then everybody's talking about Clippers, Lou Williams.
Yeah.
He has to exercise a 10-day quarantine.
What'd you think of that?
On Orlando campus after picking up some food at Magic City Strip Club on excused absence, sidelining him through the first 2 seedling games, NBA says. So
what'd you think of that?
He just giving the Lakers a free pass right to the championship. Being silly.
No,
ridiculous.
Lou Williams, the rapper.
He was getting some chicken wings. Yeah, right.
Yeah. They said the picture was old that they took. It was old.
With the new mask on, but yeah, okay.
Listen, I told you, Lauren. You can't.
You said it was gonna blow up.
Listen,
they ain't even started playing yet.
They ain't even started yet. You cannot. I swear
and
to
you. Playing for the Clippers.
You
like,
can't listen.
You got you like this close to a championship, dude.
You got a bunch of 20-something-year-old millionaires, or
he
you know,
ain't 20-something. Lou Williams is definitely 30-something.
No, but the point is, you got a bunch of young guys who are the most physically fit people on the face of the planet, and you're gonna put them in an isolated place for 3 months without any
professionals, getting paid multi-millions of dollars. They should be professional.
Come on, Lauren.
Please.
Hey,
he 33 years
Lauren.
old. Yes.
You ain't gonna tell no dude to be professional, and
if somebody's paying me millions upon millions of dollars, I'm gonna be very professional. Yeah.
He needs some female companionship.
Please. No.
He ain't boxing. Boxers can take 6 months off. NBA players can't. They can't do it.
Oh, okay.
Marvelous. Before we go, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll tell you. On Thursday, you got the NBA, Pelicans, and Jazz, and the Clippers, and the Lakers, and then don't forget the Blackhawks start on Saturday against Edmonton.
They took off.
So you're gonna have to be switching channels now to watch your sports.
No, it's
they
so
took
much
off to the Great White North. They're up in Canada.
Edmonton, yeah.
God bless them.
All of them at once. I can't keep up.
Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
While you're watching the games, wear your mask.
On behalf of Devin Tingle, our producer, it's been another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, the great, lovely, talented, and outstanding Lauren Cox, and the marvelous one, Dan Marver. Thanks to our guest, Betsy Shepard, of Wrigleyview Rooftop. And thanks to our callers. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Make sure you stay safe. We're on television. We'll see you on Wednesdays, 7 o'clock, Channel 17, Channel 19, Channel 35 in the northern suburbs. We apologize to the viewers from last week. They showed back-to-back shows, and I got to give those guys over at Comcast a call and say, hey, straighten things up.
Get on them.
You got your ticket taken care of over at Comcast at the Marquee Network. Keep the Rewind Sports 60. Get up. We're giving you a fresh show. Make sure you play it. Channel 17, Channel 19, Channel 35. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Have a great week. Safe week. Stay cool.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
Social distance.
Social distancing. And get your hand sanitizer.
Please.
We'll see you on Wednesday on television. Take care, everybody. Gabe Salgado, TRS60 Scoreboard Update. Welcome back, buddy. Take it away.
TRS60 Sports Update.
The Bears will open up training camp in Hallis Hall on Tuesday, and it will be the first time that the team has held camp in Lake Forest since 1983. The NFL will allow players to opt out this season if they don't feel comfortable playing amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Any player who opts out will receive a partial salary for this season. This update has been sponsored by the Monster Education Foundation. I'm Gabe Salgado, and this is the Rewind Sports 60 on WCPT 820, Chicago.
Your line's active, and you go ahead.
Hello, Jeremy. How big a lift was it to get Corey Crawford back?
Yeah, it's great to have him out there. Guys are all happy to see him, and we got right into the nets. So got some work in with Jimmy, so that's positive, and we'll get him ready as soon as we can.
Again, if you have a question for Jeremy Colleton, please press the raise hand button and we will get to you. Our next question is from Ben Pope from the Chicago Sun-Times. Ben, your line is active and you can go ahead.
Hi, Jeremy. What did you think of Crawford in the scrimmage, and just also your impressions of the overall team performance in the scrimmage?
Yeah, I mean, great to get him on the ice. It's first day back. That's just the biggest thing, feeling the puck and getting comfortable and getting his game legs back. So I'm not gonna critique things on day one here, but we don't have a lot of time, so that we do have some urgency, but he knows that, and he's been through it before as far as trying to come back off an injury and get right in. So we'll keep going on that process. And then as far as the game, I thought that it was a great lesson for our team. The way you need to play to win. I thought the red team was, their work ethic was outstanding away from the puck. They played a very clean game, didn't turn pucks over, 5 guys back, numbers above all the time, and forcing the black team to come through numbers and work for everything they got. And so obviously we mentioned it to the team, in between periods. And again, that's the kind of mentality we're going to need to have in the playoffs to have success.
Our next question is from John Dietz from the Daily Herald. John, your line is active and you can go ahead.
Hey, Jeremy. I'm not sure what happened. I got in here a little late, so I'm sure you've been asked some Crawford questions. Is it just how nice is it to see him back on the ice? What does this do to your chances? And does it go without saying that as long as he's ready, he's your goaltender?
Yeah, obviously his track record and his highest level it's a big lift for our team to have him back in the group. And we just got to take it day by day. We've been doing that in the past couple of weeks, not knowing what was going to happen as far as us getting him back. And now the challenge is every day to do what we can to prepare him to be ready. And we don't need to make that decision right now.
And if you have a question for Jeremy Colleton, please press the raise hand button and we'll go to Carter Baum from Blackhawks.com. Carter, your line is active and you can go ahead.
Jeremy, you get Corey back today. You have Murphy kind of working his way back, DeHaan back the other day. Is it nice to kind of have all these things starting to click? I mean, you probably would have rather had them in camp earlier, but especially right before you leave to kind of have the pieces falling into place.
Yeah, we want everyone on board. We need everyone to have success and give ourselves the best chance. So certainly encouraging to get those guys back on the ice. In a perfect world, we would have had them for the whole time and been able to prepare them. Just getting used to the workload and whatnot. But all teams are going to deal with some sort of adversity as far as guys missing, and we just got to get through it. And we're the players. I know they're doing everything they can to prepare, and we'll be ready on August 1st.
We'll go to Phil Thompson from the Chicago Tribune. Phil, your line's active. You can go ahead.
Thanks, Jeremy. I want to know how much you knew about Corey going through this COVID situation, and what kind of communication you had with him throughout this, and as a coach, what you had to do or couldn't do is kind of a lesson for other coaches that may come into this situation as we go through this return to play.
Well, I mean, ultimately, we listen to the medical team that we have and the guidelines that have been set for this. It's our uncharted territory for everybody. But if we follow the advice of the doctors and the people who've done the work to hopefully understand the virus better, we will get a good result. And we're happy to have Corey back. I think the medical team did a great job dealing with all the things that come up under these circumstances. And obviously we were talking to Corey, texting on the phone, Jimmy, obviously the medical team. So following his progress, and we get through it, a little adversity, but we found a way to get him back here.
We'll now go to John Dietz from the Daily Herald. John, your line is active. You can go ahead.
Jeremy, I'm going to hopefully ask this correctly, but what do you need to see out of Corey in this next week? I mean, obviously his conditioning can't be where you'd want it to be right now. There's only a week to go. There's timing issues. There's, all these things that go into being a goaltender that are, and he's trying to ramp everything up in 1 week. I mean, is that going to be a very difficult decision for you to make? And I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll know it when we see it. Obviously, Jimmy works closely with the goaltenders, and we're preparing all of them for the challenge of playing. And we'll see how things look once we get closer. But when you have time, you should use it. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to allow things to play out, and we'll see.
Jeremy, thank you very much for your time today and your time throughout training camp. We'll talk to you again from Edmonton. Thank you very much, media.
The Rewind Sports 60.com.